Yo, what is going on, y'all? Welcome into Cardinalytics and Arizona Cardinals podcast, hosted by fans for the fans here on May 19th, 2025. A few weeks removed from our last podcast where we did a little bit of a draft preview along with a couple of our free agents that we picked up for the Arizona Cardinals. But now we're here to recap the draft. We're here to recap our schedule, go over our schedule. We're also here to just talk about some good vibes that have been going on in AZ this offseason that will hopefully propel to a successful season later this fall. So here joined by my co-host Jake, Shad. Boys, I haven't talked in a while. How are you guys feeling today?
Doing good, man. We got some new music going on to
Uh,
start off the show.
hey, I mean, you renew things, and next thing you know, they just start giving you extra benefits. So I appreciate them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling good. Happy to be back on the pod.
Yeah. Jake, real quickly before we get into it, you did just attend the charity event, big softball charity event for Kyler Murray. Please tell us about your experience out there, how it was, and some of the things that you saw out there. We also saw you got a big pick with Coach JG, so salute to JG.
Yes, sir.
That's massive.
Yeah, it was a good event. Was happy to support the cause. Pretty good turnout, I would say. It was what started 5:30 on a Saturday. Yeah, man, good turnout. Saw a lot of interesting jerseys there. A bit too many CeeDee Lamb Dallas Cowboys jerseys, but understand he's a crowd drawer. So no, it was cool, man. All the rookies showed out. I mean, I'm sure you guys and our viewers are aware we didn't have any rookies at the rookie showcase, so it was cool to see they were all together at the game, hanging around in the dugout. Kyle brought them out on the field. It was pretty cool. Cool to see Larry. Kyler's dad was taking the game very seriously, coaching Kyler, which was pretty funny to see. But yeah, man, it was a good event. Everyone there was having a good time. It was cool to see like all the athletes and celebrities kind of interacting with each other, and yeah, it was a good event. Was happy to go and, like I said, contribute to the cause. And there was also some sort of deal where if you brought like some canned goods, you'd get like raffle tickets and stuff. And we brought a couple cans, and dude, they had a ton of canned goods and stuff. So it wasn't just donating money to college charity. It was also they were doing the whole food drive too. So great work by Kyler and his team. It was great to see that. He talked about how Arizona's home. JG talked about how Arizona's home. So it's awesome to see that stuff. I also shouted out the PHNX guys. They were on the field, had their whole setup going. Bunch of guests they brought in. I think I was kind of like in the back shot of a few of those interviews. So it was pretty cool to see just everyone out and about, and just see the Kyler getting involved in the community out here. And yeah, it was a good time, man. Good time. Great to meet JG. It was cool to see him go to that. Especially, like we're deep in the off season right now. So to see the rookies show out on a Saturday night, all the celebrities that were supporting Kyler on a Saturday night, James Harden showed up. Like, it was pretty cool to see. And like, you see it too. Like, I mean, I feel like we're so used to seeing Kyler get ripped in the media, but when you see these guys like Terrell Owens and stuff like that, James Harden, right? Like just popping out to Scottsdale on a, like random Saturday, man. It's
Yeah.
cool to see, right? So it was a good time.
Yeah. That 1,000% goes into the good omens that are going to be, hopefully pushed forward with this franchise and stuff like that. So that was, obviously a great moment for Kyler, obviously in his foundation, but as well as for the team going forward. So
Wait,
let's
so who was
go
the
ahead, Shad.
who was the MVP? And what was Kyler's stat line like? Like what was he hitting on?
I think Kyler was like 4 of 5. Dude, the fence was way out there. Kyler was the closest to hitting a home run, but I think it was might have been one of the bad.
Hey, Big Red is the real
I
MVP.
was ready to say, this my MVP right here, Big Red. Hey, Big Red. Let me
he, was-
talk to
he,
you real quick.
he was getting after it, bro.
Let me talk. Let me go ahead. I was gonna say Big Red. Whoever's behind that mascot, I have
Seriously, yeah.
mascot experience. I don't, but I do. If you ever need a replacement for a situation like this again, please hit my line.
Bang my line, bro.
I will gladly be the one to participate in this. But shout out Big Red. This picture is gonna go multi-platinum when we win 12 games this year. And this will be
Facts.
why. We got 12 by Ruby Rose. So shout out to her. Shout out her.
Yeah, bro. No, it was good. It was a good time. It was funny to see who could kind of play, a little bit of baseball, who was kind of struggling. And I'd say I got to say too, George Pickens like 0 for 4, 0 for 5 with all strikeouts. So that's cool. That's quite the achievement in slow pitch softball.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marv looked fast. I remember that. Devin Duvernay was a stud. Dude, also too, I didn't realize Kyler had a brother who looks like kind of like a good amount like him. I don't know if you guys knew that, but he was hanging around there.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
No, I didn't know you had a brother.
That's what I'm saying, bro. He looks like a similar hairstyle, right? Like he kind of had like when Kyler gets like little hairs coming down.
Oh,
he kind of had that going on.
It's not QM, is it?
Not sure.
No, it's not him.
It seemed like his wife or girlfriend or something was sitting like right in front of us, because he was like messing around with her and like this little girl that was sitting with her, which was pretty funny to see. But I think it was Kyler's dad, uncle, and like I said, his brother. I'm pretty sure that were all just hanging around with the team. So it was cool, man. It was cool to see the rookies James Harden pulled up and was pretty much like, I'd say 80% of the time just kind of like on his phone. But dude, the rookies were all engaged. Like at one point, Mike Wilson came over, started talking shop with them, like literally right in front of us. And it was cool, bro, seeing Mike like talking to Will Johnson. Like it was a pretty cool moment. I'm not gonna lie. Like just kind of like watching that go down. So yeah, it was a sweet event.
Awesome. We're glad that you are able to attend the AZ events that are not games. Obviously, that you will be going to games, but we are glad you're able to get our backline reporting in those moments, as we cannot physically be there, but we are there in spirit with you. Just like we will possibly be in there in the Red Sea once again with you in the game. So hopefully we can make that happen this fall.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to start with you boys with the draft recap. So last year we covered like 16 players. It took us 2 hours. We're not doing that today. Today we're just keeping it simple, keeping it sweet, but we're also, shining a light on some of these players that we are going to be adding into our roster, obviously, and hopefully that they can make an impact. So I think it was only 6 or 7 players, if I'm not correct, that were technically drafted. I'm counting 7 right here in this picture.
7, I believe.
Yeah, seven guys that got drafted and a couple UDFAs. Won't talk too much about the UDFAs, other than Elijah Simmons, big boy. I do think he has a good shot to make the team. I know it's a lot of DTs, but if you're an SEC guy, you've been a D tackle, you've been in the trenches like that, you definitely have a good shot at hopefully making the team. So shout out him. But want to start off with obviously the main SEC defensive tackle that the Cardinals added on, and that was big Walter Nolan coming out of Ole Miss. Highly touted prospect. Obviously, a lot of teams in the top 10 were possibly looking at him. I know 49ers for sure were looking at him at 11. But the Cardinals wait patiently at 16 and make the move to grab him at 16. Didn't have to trade up, didn't trade down. A lot of us were thinking that would possibly be the route. But they do stand pat, and they actually do draft Walter Nolan, who a lot of guys believe is one of the highest upside tackles, defensive tackles in the draft. He says his favorite player is Aaron Donald. Obviously, as Cardinals fans, we know Aaron Donald is a nightmare scenario for a lot of our basically 2010s, mid 2010s and on. So that has been a staple for the Rams. So we hopeful that he can be like Aaron Donald, if anything. But what do you guys feel about Walter Nolan? I'm personally loving the pick. I think he can be a high impact player, especially with the guys that he's underneath, learning how to just be an NFL pro. I think that might have scared off a lot of teams, was he possibly, would have struggled to just know the ins and outs of becoming an NFL pro and just being a pro athlete, taking care of their money, taking care of their body, performing on a weekly basis. But obviously with the addition of Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, guys that are already in the building. I mean, Darius Robinson, he's not a veteran, but he's still a high character player. Dante Stills has been in the program. These guys kind of know and see what is expected of them and can kind of nurture that onto Walter Nolan. He can just go out there and just play ball. So how are you boys feeling about big Walter Nolan? 97, I think, is going to be his number.
Yep.
Coming out of Ole Miss wearing. playing for the Cards.
Yeah, Shaw, you wanna go?
Yeah, definitely. So first off, definitely not Robert Kimdichie vibes. So for anybody that's been around with the team and seen us drafted a Ole Miss tackle before, like this guy, like he seems like he's a hard worker, number one. He seems like he like gets after it every play. And we knew the Cardinals, they wanted to try to get like a defensive tackle. Like they targeted the dude Milton, I forget his
Yeah,
last name,
yeah,
from
Miller
free
Lynch.
agency. And like this guy is basically like same position. You expect him to come in and kind of do um what you would want from somebody like Milton Williams. So like they've been searching for this defensive tackle for a minute. And I mean, the second they could get their hands on one, like they pulled the trigger on it. So I'm cool with Walter Nolan. I like Walter Nolan. I like the person Walter Nolan also. Like he seems like he has a good head on his shoulder. Um so I'm excited to see what this defensive line group looks like, because like it's totally revamped now, right? Like
Yeah.
I potentially think that we gonna have like a top defensive line group next season. Like we hopefully we won't have to worry about the run game next year, because we've what I'm saying, or the run defense next year, because we put so many bodies now, so many competent bodies now on that defensive line, and Walter Nolan is hopefully the crown jewel of all of them.
Mhm. I wasn't I wasn't laughing at your take. You made a great point. I was laughing at the good head on good head on his shoulders term. Um,
Oh yeah,
go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked to pick, bro. I feel like we missed out on Milton Williams in free agency, and the Patriots went and totally overpaid him. But I mean, if you could predict the future and say like, oh, it's all good, like we're gonna go get a guy that has the chance to be like as good, if not better. Like I feel like that's kind of what we did, and I don't know. I feel like he kind of got like a bad rep for a bit, which like the media kind of asked him about, and they went over it and whatnot. But dude, he seems like a solid guy. Like if he can go sit in meetings with JG and Monty, and like I mean, dude, they've been beating a dead horse for years about like high character, quality people. So, dude, if he impressed them, then I don't see what any concerns would be, just based on like the players that those guys have brought in and have avoided bringing in.
Mhm.
His interviews are funny too. Like he's a funny guy, bro. Like the way he just kind of goes about like doing the media, and dude, he's just kind of like Corey, how you were saying, like just pretty much like see ball, get ball. Like he just doesn't really screw around.
Mhm.
He's just a gamer, and this early to go out and say like, I don't know if you guys remember it from like his first presser, but talking about wanting to leave with a gold jacket and stuff like that. Like people don't really come out and say that. So maybe it's like, you know, naive and like blind confidence being a young guy, but sometimes in this league, like that's kind of what you need to go out and be him. So
Mhm.
I'm excited for him, bro. I think he's a good guy. Seems like he's a family guy. Seems excited to be here. Said it was his best meeting. He loved it out here. So I'm pumped, man. The only thing is, I wish he would have worn number 99. I just think that would have been sick to see.
Mhm.
And he said he wants to be as good as Aaron Donald, and J.J. Watt obviously wore the nines with us.
Yeah.
And I think there was a missed opportunity there, because it just gives me kind of like Cam Thomas vibes. But
Wasn't
we'll see.
the wasn't the 99? Wasn't
It
it
was
retired at
retired.
first?
It
Yeah, I
was
was gonna
retired.
say
Yeah, then they
But
brought
did
it
they
back.
retire?
Yeah.
they brought it back for JJ, so I don't know if they would
Hmm.
unretire it again for bro. He might end up
Oh,
wearing that.
I didn't even realize. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize he was retired. I mean, that sucks, dude. But
That's all right. I mean, he can
hopefully,
make his fortune in the 97. I know. I mean,
yeah.
Simeon Rice long should have been a great. What's it called? Simeon Rice should have been a great Cardinal War 97, I believe. So,
Yeah.
we'll be in a good spot hopefully. With Big Walter Nolan. Overall, like I said, I'm with y'all. I know some of the deficiencies in his game comes down to him, like the motor and his attention to detail and stuff like that. But like I said, he's in a great spot, great veterans in front of him to help him learn how to the NFL game and be an NFL pro. And he seems like he wants to break that stigma that he seemed like he kind of got justified against in the draft process with the laziness and the motor, and then just not being NFL ready. So glad to have him on the team. At the end of the day, Defensive tackle was the main cog need for this football team for the last 24 months, you could probably argue. And he went out and got a guy that's probably
Probably
one of
longer
the
than that.
best. Yeah, I was going to say one of the best possible additions, and you basically got him for free because it's a draft pick, right? So you didn't have to pay for Milton Williams. You didn't overextend your dollars, but you still were able to get a Josh Sweat, and then you still add on a potential Walter Nolan guy who can. It's just literally me personally. I would love to just see him on third downs, third and long, just go. Like everybody, like Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson, those guys play first and second down. They stop the run, make sure they can't get too many yards on the run. And when it comes down to third and medium or longer, just throw Walter Nolan out there, mix him in with Darius Robinson, Josh Sweat, BJ Ojolari. I mean, there's names after names going on right here, fellas. So
You got some
we
guys
obviously were in a hell spot last year and even 2 years ago when it comes to the defensive line. But overall, just their improvement in that facet, both in free agency and in the draft, is a huge shout out to Monty Hollis for. A lot of people were giving him a lot of shit this last couple of months, but glad that he's seemingly hopeful to make it out of the fire that he went through. So obviously he added to the defensive line, but he also added to the secondary group. We wanted to hopefully see the secondary option added at 16. I believe in our mock draft we picked him at 16, but overall his medicals kind of came through for some teams, and they worried about his long-term career and his second contract ability, yada yada yada. But
bullshit.
played right. it all ended up playing right into the hands of Monty, where he was able to snag Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. A lot of top 10 talent for a lot of people at 47. And sometimes it's that's the kind of the funny thing about the draft for me personally, is that how some teams can have a guy just, all right, we can't draft this guy at all. It doesn't matter where he falls to. We can't draft this guy at all because of certain situations. And other teams are like, well, yeah, that's good with me. Like even JG talking about Will Johnson, he was basically just saying, oh, yeah, well, he's good. But, he's good with us. He checked out for us. But the 15 teams in front of us in round 2, and then even the ones behind us in round 1 didn't want to take that snap, and they took a Maxwell Harrison above him. They took, I think Ravel. Did Ravel go before him as well? I don't know if Ravel
I
went
don't
before him.
know. I don't know.
I definitely know Buddy from the Broncos went before him. Barron went before him. So
Yeah,
so some teams passed up on him because of his knee injury. And obviously I think he had a toe last year as well. But to those teams, fortune is our benefit. Obviously, our misfortune is our benefit as we get bringing Will Johnson to add into this cornerback room shot. I know you were a big fan of Will Johnson. Tell me how you feel about Big Will added to this team, and just the role he can possibly play in year 1.
Yeah, obviously, like that's my favorite pick of the draft. Like you get him where we thought that we didn't even really know if he would be there at 16, right? Like for the most part, like people looked at him as the best corner in the draft. And I mean, it's no knock against the Cardinals. I mean, you only have one pick in the first round, right? So you take the biggest need, which is defensive tackle, and then you just happen to have the best corner in the draft there for you in the second. I think it's a win-win. Like Sean Murphy Bunting, you can get punted off my team. Like I don't need you out there no more. Just throw this dude in the fire and just let him learn from year 1. I mean, look, they say history repeats itself. Last year we got Larry Fitzgerald's replacement. This year we get Pat Pete's replacement. So that's all I gotta say with that.
Sure, Jake, how you feel about Will Johnson? Will Jake going number 0? I think he's getting dubbed as Sub-Zero by a lot of fans. I don't really like that. I need something else. But personally, he is going to wear the number 0. How you feel about Will Johnson added to this cornerback room?
I love it, bro. I saw some fans calling him Agent Zero too, which I really like a lot. I think it's a sweet nickname. Dude, I think he's a beast. Like clearly super intelligent guy, a gamer, a competitor. Like people forget what he did in the Natty, dude, like 2 years ago. Like this guy is a freak. It's funny too to like look at it and like it's interesting to see how some of these like draft day stories kind of catch fire in certain situations, like Laramie Tunsil with the face mask like bong, that he had a few years back, or the gas mask they call it, and teams like stayed away, and then he turned out to be an all-pro. A guy like Jalen Carter, obviously he had the issue with the racing with the teammates or whatever, and a lot of teams stayed away from him. And then now he's one of the best tackle, DTs in the entire league. And the list goes on, bro. Like, we'll see what happens with Shador, but like, dude, he was touted as like a first round guy who fell all the way to the fifth, and Browns might have gotten a stud. So, and I kind of see Will Johnson as being the same, where they claimed this knee issue, which he said he didn't even deal with at all last year. And then, after kind of like going through media and stuff, after being drafted, he said like the knee is completely fine. Like, I don't know what anyone's talking about. So to me, that seemed like something that seemed to be like, oh, this might actually be an issue, turned out to just be, or may turn out to just be a draft rumor that, caught fire. And then all of these like NPC GMs were just like, no, like kind of like one of you guys was saying earlier, like we can't touch him no matter what. Whereas he falls to us, and Monty and JG are like, absolutely, like why the hell would we not take this guy who was potentially going to go in the top 10 of the first day? We're able to take him at 47. It's just like, dude, such a win for us. And he seems happy, man. Like, this system is pretty much allows him to go out and be an all-pro, I think, within the next, like, really couple years. I'm extremely excited. And the funniest part of it all to me is just being a small market team. Like, not a ton of analysts know the Cardinals all that well. People are like mocking, matchups this season, right? With like Will Johnson being the assumed like number one corner. And it's like, dude, people forget, like, Garrett Williams like tested out in all metrics last year as like a top like 6 to 10 guy in like all categories. So it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's almost giving me vibes of like that like 2015 team. So I'm really excited. I think we got a great player and an even better guy. Like, he seems like a really, really solid dude with solid family. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, you hear a lot of that. Your point about scheme fit. You hear a lot about that, and people may want to like understand what you mean by that. And that's just simply on the fact that the Cardinals, out of everybody last year, played the most zone. Will Johnson is a primarily zone corner who excelled in zone, and that just literally means that you'll be seeing a lot of him doing a lot of quarters. The Cardinals play a lot of quarters. They play a lot of different type of zone coverages in the backside, but just him being able to use his eyes to break on the ball, one. And as well as two, just to be able to defend the side of the field will be a massive play. And I also had a Cowboys fan that actually came to me the other day, and he was like, how, as we talk about the schedule when we get forward, how will you stop, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens? Like, you don't have a number one and a number two cornerback. And it just goes into the point that my co-host Jake just made, where it's like people don't realize how good Garrett Williams is. So when CeeDee Lamb enters the slot and he has to go against Garrett Williams, and then George Pickens has to go one-on-one with Will Johnson on the outside, and they don't have too much of a passing production, then we'll see why. You'll see on the national stage why. And I will want to get into that with you boys too, is who we think will be some of our breakout players on this team going forward next year. But yeah, so I mean, Will Johnson, we're glad to have him on this team. Like you said, he fits in perfectly in a scheme fit. Just a guy that's going to be able to use his eyes and his brain to play defense, and I think that's a huge thing with his DB group. That JG and Rollis want to do is just have their, eyes and mind glued onto the game, because it takes you a long way. Obviously, the long speed stuff, like the second contract stuff, that's a worry, but we're talking about a team that needs to win immediately. We're not talking about and again, they're not. It's not the notion of, okay, we're the Philadelphia Eagles, we need to win immediately because we have stacked up all these contracts and all these players. No, this is a team that needs to win immediately, to the point where if Will Johnson doesn't make it to year 5, 6, which we all think he will, but if he doesn't make it to year 5 or 6, if he was really good in his first 4 years, he's already changed the culture with his team immediately. And that's the biggest thing, is changing the narrative about the Cardinals going forward, along with JG and whatever they're trying to build up, stuff like that. So I'm stoked to have him as well. They also made another defensive line addition in the third round. Jordan Birch, out of Oregon, dude looks like a specimen out there, and he kind of he honestly reminds me, like, obviously he has the ties with Xavier Thomas, but they kind of remind me of the same type of player, where it's like a physical freak on the outside, who's been in college for a while and just trying to put things together. Go ahead.
Can you pull up that picture again with the rookies all standing next to each other?
Absolutely, I can for you. Sure thing.
Because Jordan Birch is the biggest dude out there.
Mm-hmm.
Dude is huge.
I mean, here you go right here. Yeah, dude is a tank. I ain't gonna lie to you. There he is right here. Right on the right. He's the tallest. His legs the biggest. His arms the biggest. He's built like a tank, but he's also, still has that speed, athleticism.
I'm about to say he probably the
Um,
second fastest out there.
yeah, as I say, he also has the speed and athleticism to make plays on the outside. And this again, just another young rotational rusher that Monty acquired that allowed Rollis and JG to platoon guys in, which is what they love to do anyways. So now people were talking. I don't think they carry as many linebackers. I think they'll carry a lot more defensive line because they want to platoon defensive linemen and they want to do basically shifts, almost like hockey shifts when it comes to the defensive line. And honestly, now you start talking about from the top of what you think you have. So you talk maybe a Calais Campbell's at the top, Dalvin Tomlinson, and you start talking about Walter Nolan, Darius Robinson, Dante Stills. Then you still had the two guys last year that didn't even really get to play and make an impact in Bilal and Justin Jones. I just named up six guys almost to the point, and then you still talk about the edge rushers on top of that. You got Zaven, BJ, Jordan Birch, Xavier Thomas. That's at least 11, 12 guys I just named almost that you can just combine with each other to go after the quarterback. And I think that this team hasn't had something like that since maybe 2021. And even in 2021, that was just a lot of JJ Watt and Chandler Jones whipping ass. So it's like
You had the
you haven't
Dennis
really seen this
Gardex
collection. Yeah,
and
you haven't really seen this collection of young talent, but as well as veteran and wise talent that they can learn from on this team. So the Cardinals are in a really good spot when it comes to defensive line from last year. They just need their guys to come out and execute and play well. And if they can do that, they're in a great spot.
yeah.
Jake, how you feeling about Jordan Birch, big mammoth guy? I don't know, he looks pretty big to me. Shit.
I'm excited, bro. Seems like a well-spoken dude with a high motor and someone that's just all ball all the time. Honestly, bro, if you listen to him talk, he kind of sounds like a veteran already. So it just kind of continue with that theme of high character individuals. I think he could come in and make an impact like right off the rip. Seems like a gamer.
So I don't know if they skipped out in the fourth round or not, but the later additions that they did have was Cody Simon, who's on the far left of this picture right here. Hayden Connor, who was the lone offensive player that was drafted. He's a guard out of Texas. They added Denzel Burke, who I mocked a ton of times to the Cardinals in the PFF mock draft simulator, just because I saw Denzel Burke's name, I clicked him, I added him. I knew it was a good. I remember him being a very good player. Obviously, he hasn't had as good a seasons gone past as his career went on, but I mean, we're talking about a guy maybe a year or two ago that was potentially a top 10 type of pick. So this guy definitely, he still has a talent. And Keaton Crawford out of Nevada, who by all measures had an amazing combine, tested out of the waters and had a great pro day as well. So they pick him up in the 7th round as a special teams ace kind of guy, potentially, rotational safety type of thing. But this cornerback room, this defensive line room, and even with Cody Simon added, this linebacker room, every room feels like there's a strong piece in it. Like whether or not like that's a veteran or a young player, there's a lot of strong pieces on this defense from every position. And I think that just allows them to play so much more versatile. And it'd be interesting to see if Cody Simon actually does get to green dot in week 1. I was thinking Mac, obviously everybody thinks Mac, but he's more so of a will linebacker than a Mike. So it'll be interesting if Cody Simon is able to pick up the defense quickly and be actually their green dot. Because I think Jonathan Gannon was having a presser. He said something about that he doesn't make Nick Rollis, like him and Nick, they don't do complex, complicated type of calls. So if he can pick up the type of calls that he has to make and just know what everybody's doing in the calls, I can see him coming out there week 1 and starting. I mean, you can talk about a guy who could be one of our, sleeper type of draft picks, a guy who at Ohio State wore the 0, which I think is like they call the block O or something like that. And that's basically block like their top type of captain. Like their main 2 type of guy. And he was playing defense for them. I think he also was if I'm not wrong, he was a Rose Bowl MVP or defensive MVP for something. So this is a guy who had a ton of studs. I mean, you talk about a guy like Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau and all these other guys. He was the guy that they would consider their leader and their defensive captain and stuff like that. So that's just goes to show the type of players that JG Monty want to bring in. It's just more guys that fit their type of culture, but as well as that, they're all getting talented players as well. So this
Yeah,
defense is tenfold, night and day from last year. Go ahead.
I feel like, like this draft class was just like they just kept it simple. Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, in the past draft classes, we haven't seen Monty take anybody from like a small school, right? Like a D2 school,
No
D3 school.
UMass? Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
no UMass,
Hey,
no
come
none
on.
of that. But but this year, I mean, like all these dudes came from literally like top schools in their conferences, like with the exception of Keaton. But Keaton technically he spent 4 years at Texas before he transferred to Nevada. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and that was just because his defensive coordinator got the head coaching job at Nevada. So like all of these guys that they drafted this year came from top programs. They were top players on top teams. Like it's that simple. Like you do that, your hit rate is probably going to be a lot higher than when you're picking and choosing like guys from I don't know like Central Arkansas and Eastern Washington and schools like that. So like
Mm-hmm.
no, I think Monty did his thing this draft. Like we just keep adding the Ohio State players. Um and just keep adding players from good schools. Like I feel like the team and the roster is gonna, on paper, gonna balance out.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree, bro. I feel like it's so like even that dude. What's his last name? Crawford, the dude from
Yeah,
Nevada,
Mm-hmm.
bro.
yeah,
You see, like you turn on like the draft tape and like, dude, his highlight reel, like, dude, this dude's a gamer. Like he's out there making plays, and it's like
Yep.
I feel like we've all gone through so many drafts with Steve Kime where it's like, who the fuck do we just draft, bro? Like, it's like, dude, who even is this? Like, it's like he's trying to just like find a diamond in the rough, which at this level it just doesn't really happen. So it's just so refreshing to see. Like, I mean, even me, dude. Like, I was hoping like maybe we take a chance on like a receiver in like the third round or something, but they're like, dude, no. Like,
Mhm.
defense has been the issue. And if you look at the blueprint of the teams that have been winning lately, like yes, their offenses can go and they've got names, but like typically it's the teams that have like really good defenses. Like, I mean, you even look at like a Buffalo last year, like they came up short, and what are they lacking? Pretty much defense. Like the Chiefs' defense has been top tier for a while. Obviously, Philly last year stifled the Chiefs, right? Like Mahomes is touted as one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and like that offense and all the weapons and this and that. And Eagles defense just came in and just absolutely ran him out of the building. And
Mm-hmm.
who was kind of there at the start of like Philly's like, domination on the defensive side of the ball, Jonathan Gannon. So what I see is like we're kind of building to that level of like we're gonna fucking stack the defense and kind of see what that yields. Funny enough, I was talking to my brother today. Gave me a call from back home, and he's talking about, and he's a guy that's very objective, always down on us. He's a huge Cardinals fan, but always playing the devil's advocate, like just you know worst possible situation. And he's even talking about it, and he's like, dude, I feel like this year, we're gonna have the ability to get the offense on the field from our own 40, 45, the opponent's 45, where he's like in the last like X amount of years, it's like we're starting with the ball on like our own,
The 20,
you're right,
yeah,
the
or
15,
Mm-hmm.
worse.
like the
Hmm.
the 3. And he's like, dude, like with this defense, like we might be driving some teams back. They're going to start in the 20, the 25, the 30, and potentially even go backwards to the point where we're going to be in a position to have that ability that the Chiefs have had for so long, where Patrick Mahomes is getting the ball at his own 40, picks up a couple first downs, and you're guaranteed a field goal at least. So I'm excited, man. Like I love what we did. I mean, I don't think this draft was really loaded offensively, anyways. And I mean, just look at the picks, and it's like stud and Walton, stud and Will Johnson. Birch looks like a monster. Cody Simon was, a beast at Ohio State. They just won the Natty. It's like, dude, even that guy, what's his name? Hayden. I forget the last name, the lineman.
It's like
Yeah,
Connor or something. Hayden
yeah.
Connor.
Whatever it is, dude. I was listening to his press conference, and if you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Dude, just a super well-spoken guy as well. I think he was like some sort of like aerospace engineering major. Like, just like super bright, and it was cool, dude. Like I mean, I like it. After listening to that, I was like, this guy seems like pretty cool. I looked into his tape, and dude, just pulling all across the field and blowing guys up. I'm like, dude, we drafted some really solid players. So I'm giddy, bro. I'm like so excited. I've got the countdown to the season already up on my phone. Like I'm amped. I think it's gonna be night and day from the last few years.
And as long as that aerospace degree or whatever the case may be, as long as that helps him block Leonard Williams, I'm gonna be good with that. I like that about him. If that helps him block Leonard Williams, I love that. If that helps him get mauled by Leonard Williams, then you got to go, buddy.
Right.
So you got a lot of shit to do, but I need him to make sure that he can block any defensive tackle that tries to get in the inside because we need that pocket clean, brother. So if you ever get a chance to get into that game, which I don't think he will possibly get into, it depends, and we'll see. How they orchestrate their starting offensive line. I think it's a big battle in camp for at least that right guard spot at the very least. So we'll definitely see whoever comes to fruition in terms of the offensive line. I think you got at least four spots set. So like I said, that right guard position I think is the one position of interest going into camp. So I think that's a good camp battle to be looking into going forward. So shout out to the rookies. Need y'all to make a little bit of an impact here this year. Obviously, you don't expect them to be all pros or Pro Bowlers in year one, but if anybody wants to fuck around and do that, please, I'll be more than welcome to enjoy that. So now moving on over to the schedule. Obviously, it came out just a few days ago. Our schedule release thing was a little interesting. They obviously did a what did they do, a rap song?
18 bars, man.
18
Hey,
bars.
rocket ship, man. Big Mac truck.
Shout out to Rocket Ship. I ain't gonna lie, shout out to Rocket Ship. It's cool. I like the song. I wish that Mark Dalton, Cards PR, didn't text Ian Rappaport and all this other shit and try to tell them
To
that we
hype it
had this
up.
coolest shit ever coming out, because it really wasn't. It was different. Shout out, bro. It definitely was different. I don't think we've ever seen a team do a rap song for their
And a
schedule
music
release.
video.
And a music video. Yeah, shout out, bro. Shout out, bro. I ain't gonna lie. He got that. Look, Mac Wilson. A lot of people were shitting on it. I was defending it the first day. So like I said, you give that a few spins. That's some definitely good music right there. We got a comment that says real music.
Real music.
So, I was there to say real music from Mac. So I appreciate that. But he did come out with a schedule. Obviously, it's a very interesting schedule, fellas. This season, let me go ahead and pull it up for y'all real quick. This season, I don't see, like, you know me. I feel like I'm the more like Sean. I feel like you're the most low keys on the pod. I'm like in between you and Jake, and then Jake, you're like, this is definitely going to happen with 12 plus wins. But I think this year, me personally, I don't see a way that this team doesn't win 11 games. Do you also like? How does this team not win 11 games with this schedule? Obviously, we'll go into it, but there's obviously three sections.
Could you zoom in some?
Yeah, I got you. There's obviously three sections of it. Bo Brock, pointed that out on a couple podcasts ago about this schedule. Is that there's about three sections of it. It's literally the even games, then it's like a middling ground, and then it's the proven grounds, right? So it's like you start off week one against the Saints, Shaw. This is your territory. This is your people. I'm sure a lot of people were saying we're on your ass week one, but let's get it real, New Orleans, please. We are on your ass for this game.
The Saints are they're in shambles right now, and their fans are in shambles. I don't think they have any optimism about this season.
Yeah.
They're on some tank for Nussmeier, which I don't necessarily agree with, but
Yuck.
they on that type stuff this season. So like, yeah, no, that should be a dub. It should be.
I'm trying to wrap my head around the game that would have been like this last year, where a team that is clearly in a better spot than the other team went on the road versus that team and lost. I would have to do some like real searching and digging, but I couldn't think of a team in this
in the first game of the season. I don't know. I mean, I remember like Washington came to us and like we definitely should have beat them.
Mm-hmm. I think of this game like I don't know if you all remember this game, but there was a game week one maybe 2 years ago when San Francisco went up to Pittsburgh, right? And Pittsburgh was starting Kenny Pickett, I think, and this is the year when they had Patrick Peterson. I think this is the year that we played them as well. And they went up in there and they destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers still had they thought they still had some hope and stuff like that. And Brandon Ayuk, McCaffrey, all these they destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you can see something like that from the Cardinals coming out versus the Saints. And obviously, that dome is going to be a tough area to play. But this team, I don't think this team will falter on the road in terms like that because their leaders are veteran players, right? So you're not expecting anything from like a year or two obviously you want to see stuff from year 2 or year 3 guys, but your leaders are veterans, so they'll have the guys ready to play, I believe, and I believe that game to be a win. So then you talk about Carolina coming home as your home opener in a game where you need clear get back. A lot of the guys, I remember they were talking about the schedule, who will be the home opener, who will be the first game. A lot of people pointed Carolina, and they say, you know why. So a lot of the team wants to get Carolina back because Carolina basically ended our season last year. And for any Carolina fan that believes that they're going to beat us, that's fair, that's fine. But as a Cardinals fan, we're going to also believe that we can beat you all because we're on the same type of level of team. You all aren't better than us, and we don't believe we're better than you. So regardless of you winning the game, nobody believes they're better. It's a even game, so it's like I said, it's a middle ground game. But us being the home team in that one, I'm going to take our chances in that one and take the W there. So then you talk about at San Fran. You won at San Fran last year. My fault. I'm gonna let y'all go too, but I think we all have us at 2-0 at this point, correct?
Yeah, I have us at 2-0.
Yeah.
I would I be surprised if we lose to Carolina on the home opener? I wouldn't be because
Okay.
it's Carolina,
Okay.
but I think we should beat them at home for
Okay.
sure.
I'm honestly I'm with you in the same aspect to the point where it's like if you lose versus Carolina, then you better beat San Fran the next week, right? So I like obviously like there's tug and pull when it comes to that for me, but
Yeah.
Me personally, if I'm going to take the 2-0, I'll take the loss of San Fran. But either way y'all want to shape it up, if you want to beat San Fran and New Orleans and lose Carolina, doesn't really matter to me. But I like us being at least 2-1 after the first 3 weeks, if not 3-0. Jake, I feel like you're smelling 3-0.
I'm smelling 3-0, bro. I think the Saints suck. I think we go in there, kill them. I personally don't think we're on the same level or the Panthers are on the same level as us. I think we're definitely a better team at this point. And I think San Francisco stinks too. Like everyone's talking about them bouncing back and being good, and I just don't see it. I think they'll be a very average team, probably cap out around 8 or 9 wins. So the season doesn't start for me until week 4.
Okay, so I love what you're talking regardless. So
I'm with Jake, bro. Like we swept the Niners last year, and they're gonna have to beat me. They're gonna have to beat us until I believe that they can beat us. If that makes sense, like I gotta see it.
Okay, so
So
Sean, you're about at 2-1 still, regardless. Jake's at
yeah,
3-0. I'm at 2-1. Okay, so then we're on to Seattle. I think everybody has us winning this game. I like us winning this game because it's on a Thursday. It's a short week, and versus a team that you need to beat at home because I'm tired of us not beating them. Like this is ridiculous. They're not that much. They're not really not better than us at all, in my opinion. I think we're pretty even of teams. And then on top of that, most of the games they've won have been some circumstantial shit going on, in my opinion. So I like us beating Seattle on a short week, probably debut on our rivalry jerseys. So I like us winning that game.
so they're coming off of they're coming off of the Saints at home.
Okay, so a little bit of an ease up for them.
Yeah,
They're thinking they probably go with a crazy game and then they come into it like kind of easing
but
up.
that
Hopefully the Saints push them a little bit harder, and so that way
yeah.
coming into a Thursday game it's even tougher for them. But I like the Cardinals winning this game. I'm tired of us not beating the Seahawks. They're not. There's not a competitive advantage over us. They just have the mojo over us at this point right now, and that's really what it comes down to. So, Kyler, go do your big one. We haven't beaten Seattle at home since the 2021 game where Isaiah Simmons got the pick in overtime. And it's kind of getting out of hand because literally since that 2022 game when we haven't beaten them at home since 2020 because 2020 was that Isaiah Simmons game. The 2021 home game was the finale when they literally had nothing to play for, and Rashad Penny had about 250 fucking rushing yards. That was insane, and we had everything to play for, and we had a chance to be division champs, and we lost that game. They need to get back on this team. They are due for a win versus this team. So I like us beating Seattle at home. That takes us up to at least 3-1. Jake, you're at 4-0. Yep. Then moving on to Tennessee, Cam Ward. It's great to that you're in the league, but I love us taking this game again. So either we're at 4-1 or 5-0 at this point right here. So then you go to Indy, and here's where I'll give us the loss because I have us winning the week after. So I know Jake, you're at 6-0. Yeah, Jake's at 6-0. Shaw, you have us beating Indy 5-1.
Man, man, I'm looking at the schedule for the first time, like just like this, and like, man, like I feel like all these games, man, we should go into these games like the better team, bro.
There's
Like
there's
every
not there's
single
not
one
one
of them.
game in this. There's not one game in those first six where the Cardinal fans, at least us, feel like that they had the team other team has a better quarterback than you. There's literally not a single game. The only game that you can maybe contest is Jordan Love, and
Green Bay, yeah,
even still,
yeah.
some Cardinals fans will believe that Kyle's better than Jordan Love. So there's like you got 7 weeks, and then even past the bye week into 9, 10, 11, 12. Like there's like all these weeks where Kyler is, in a lot of people's opinion, a better quarterback, at least for Cardinals fans. So this will be an interesting stretch, but yeah, I have this person losing to Indy just on some fluky shit. Like I don't,
Hmm.
fluky shit things happen, but then you come back the next week and you beat Green Bay at home, a place where you kind of have a lot of success against this team at home, where they're literally probably their only one win that they've had against you in this building over the past 10 years was AJ Green not turning around a game where you should have won. So again, it's interesting, but yes, me personally, I had the Cardinals at 5-2 heading into the bye week.
I see 6-1. And
Six and one.
the good thing though about this is like worst case, like if I'm being like worst case pessimistic, it's 4-3, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
going into the bye week and you still have everything ahead of you.
Exactly.
Like there's no way they
100%.
go into the bye week worse than 4-3.
Okay.
But I see 6-1 for sure.
I see 6-1 too. I agree. Worst case is 4-3, and I do think it's possible that we could go 7-0 through this time. I just
Okay.
if I think Green Bay gets us. Like I think we do go in 6-1, but like it's if it was on the road at Green Bay, obviously we saw what happened last year. Excuse me, different teams and
Yeah.
everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro. It's at home. Like there's even a chance we could win that, go in 7-0. But I'll stick with home.
Facts. I got us beating Green Bay at home. I know I said I had us beating Green Bay last year, but I got us beating Green Bay at home for real this time. And this could be a game where Kyle can have a day. And if we just take advantage, because I mean, Green Bay fans can correct me if I'm wrong or not, but I don't believe they were a good road team last year personally. So, it'll be interesting to see for them how they handle traveling on the road. Obviously, it'll be a shit ton of fans there, as you can see by the ticket price already at 170. So. Our resellers are hiking the price of that ticket up already, but yeah, there should be a good environment. Hopefully, by that time, the Cardinals, like we said, are about 5-2, 6-1, or I should say 5-1, or
Five and
even
two.
4-2 at
Oh,
this point. Going, yeah, I was gonna say
hmm
5-1 or 4-2 going into that game. So we have a little bit of a home cooking advantage, and a couple Cardinal fans come out to that game. So heading into the bye week, obviously, early bye week, is that a good thing or bad thing for this football team? It'll be time to tell. I mean, obviously, last year's bye did not go great. Usually, the byes don't go great when it comes to since Kyler Murray's been here. But I think an early bye is kind of good. It kind of helps you reset mentally early. So at that point where it's like your real stretch of the season is past the bye week. It's not really before; it's more so past the bye week. So straight out the bye week, you do come in to the game at Dallas on Monday Night
I'm about to
Football.
say,
The
could
Cardinals'
we have
real
asked?
return
Yeah,
to Monday Night Football since I believe 2021 when they faced the no, when was the last time they played on Monday Night Football? Like
I
real Monday
thought
Night Football. Was it 2021?
It must have
I
been.
thought it was I thought it was when they played the Patriots, right? Wasn't that Monday night?
Oh yeah, it
In
was.
fact, it was. It was.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
Kyle's returned to a real Monday Night Football game since he tore his ACL. Yes, that is 1,000% fact.
I mean, and you couldn't if you asking me about like if you're telling me this is the schedule and obviously what we know about the Cardinals in the bye week and how they've
Mm-hmm.
kind of faltered after the bye week and what we know about Kyler and the Cardinals against Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
this is the perfect game coming off the bye week. Like if we had to put a game after our bye week at Dallas Monday night is the perfect game for this team.
Facts. Facts.
So I'm
I'm
feeling
with
pretty
you.
confident about that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I know.
I like 6-2 into that. You 6-2 after that game. I like 6-2 after that game for sure. Jake, I'm pretty sure you what 7-1 at this point.
I would go 7-1. Yeah,
Seven and
just
one. Okay.
historically, bro. Kyler he
Hmm.
just doesn't lose there.
So now we talk about at Seattle. I'm gonna give Seattle this game, home and home split. This is
Yep.
literally what I want from most of our division games are home and home splits. As we talk about versus San Fran, I think we can bounce back next week, the week after that. And then you talk about two straight home games versus San Fran versus Jacksonville. You should those are two teams where at least Jacksonville, but if you beat San Fran and Jacksonville, you should handle your business versus Jacksonville. So you're talking about a team that at this point is, I believe in my estimation, would be you were 6-2 after the Dallas game, then you were 7-3 after the San Francisco game, and then 8-3 after the Jacksonville game. So you're 8-3 going into the final stretch of the season, where I believe this is what most would consider the proving grounds staple or the proving grounds point of the Cardinal season. When you talk about at Tampa versus Rams, at Houston versus Atlanta, at Cincinnati, and at Los Angeles. Boys, how did the Cardinals finish this season out? Um,
I will I will say, like, we got a great road schedule. Like,
mhm.
I mean, the only bad road game is like Cincinnati
At
in
Cincinnati, week 17.
December. But like you
Facts.
get Tampa Bay, I mean, it's gonna be warm. Houston's dome, and then I mean, Dallas is a dome. Like
Hmm.
we got a great road schedule. Um, I feel like coming out of this gauntlet though, like this last like 6 games, I mean, just to be respectful, I say we go 3-3. Like I
That's
feel like we
exactly where
beat
you need to be at.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we beat Atlanta. I feel like maybe we beat Tampa Bay, and and then we either beat, we split with LA.
Hmm. If
I can
I
kind of see that.
if I had my preference, obviously, I don't mind losing to either of the AFC teams because those won't matter when it comes to standings. So if you want to put two of those three losses against those, that's fine. And then you just
Yeah.
have to beat, win your home games and then win one of those road games. And at the end of the day, you're talking about a team that's 11-6. Like I don't think people are quite understanding the abilities for the Cardinals to be 11-6 this season. Like they have a schedule where they can stack up wins before a stretch happens, where in a stretch where even if you're 2-4, like you go 2-4 in a stretch, you're still won 10 games. Like you go three
Yeah.
and three, you're at 11 games. You overachieve, win 4-2, you're at 12 games. Like this is a real opportunity for this team to win double digit games this season. And again, a lot of people had the floor like eight. I had the floor at 10. There's no way, in my opinion, that they don't win at least 10 games this season with
I,
this schedule, with the additions that they had on this football team, and with the way that they've been able to play football the way that they have. I don't see how they don't get under 10 wins this season. I mean, it just feels like it's honestly inevitable for them. And obviously, as a Cardinals fan, you don't want to talk about inevitable because they haven't made it inevitable, obviously. But at the same time, you just look at the schedule and you look at the additions and you say these things match up for sure.
Yeah.
I got two things.
But
The first is I think it's going to come down to just winning the games that we should win. Like no fluky losses. Like we gotta take care of those easy games to prove that we're a legit team. Can't lose to like a Jacksonville or some New Orleans, something like that. And then the second thing is, dude, Cincinnati doesn't really scare me all that much. I know Shad is not going to like to hear that, but I just feel like they're not a complete team. I mean, look at how many losses they took last year in like close games where the defense just let them down. I think we'll have the ability to go toe to toe, and I mean, even when we played them 2 years ago, we were like very much in that game, and that was even with Jamar dropping like 250 and like 3 touchdowns on that clown Marco. Like we were still like hanging around. So I don't know, dude. I mean, like maybe we lose that game, but I feel like a lot of people are chalking it up as like a loss, and like I feel like that's very winnable. LA will be tough, of course. Houston will be tough on the road that late in the season, but I'm setting mine at 12. I think we get 12.
12 wins. Woo. I
I
could
like it.
I can see it. I can see it. I can see I can see 12 wins. I can see 12 wins. Definitely feel like I can see 11. 10 is almost a given. Now, I would say this: what went wrong in the season? Is there one clear point? What went wrong in the season if this team doesn't win more than 9 games in a year? Is it? Can you point strictly to the quarterback? I mean, obviously injuries can happen, but can you point strictly to the quarterback why this team wouldn't have won 9 games this year?
If we don't win 9 games or
Shad, you're on the
more,
clock. Might tell Shad he's on the clock.
Oh man, we got a fantasy draft going on right now,
oh,
so
There you
that's
go.
what we got some. I got a pick to make.
make that pick, brother.
Uh,
No, I feel like if we don't win at least 9 or 10, I think all fingers point to Drew Petzing. Like I feel like he's the guy that held this team back last year, and they better be really sure that he's going to get it right this year because we're literally running it back. So he better, have gotten it together because last year was super disappointing, and I feel like looking at games like Buffalo, Detroit, very winnable.
Yeah,
Carolina, we fought back to brought him to OT, still couldn't get it done. Both of the Seattle games, or at least the first Seattle game, what did we put up 6 points? Like, dude, that's like 4 games that even if we win half of those last year, we're a 10-win team. So if he can just clean up his act, man, I mean, you look at this, the team only got better. Like, you flip 2 of those to wins, that's 10. The team got better, you give it a win or 2 there, like, that's 11 or 12. So if Drew Petzing can get his head out of his ass and start using the top tight end in the league, generational wide receiver, even Greg Dortch, bro, like you got to utilize that speed. He's clearly like the shiftiest guy we have on the team. So find ways to work him in, jet sweep, like whatever it may be. But Petzing just has to be better, bro. Like no more halfback draws on 3rd and 11 from our own zone. Just not going to cut it.
I can agree. I can agree with Petzing. I think he obviously has his own microscope because he wants to be a head coach. He had a head coach interview this offseason. So if he wants to have that head coaching success, he's going to have to put it together a little bit more in terms of the passing game. Shar, you kind of the same for why the season wouldn't have gone on the way he did. He said good luck to y'all, by the way. Appreciate you, twin.
Appreciate it,
Hey,
bro.
appreciate you. That's my boy Mike. He an Eagles fan, so he on top right
Okay.
now.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
so you know that belt. So you know that Cardinal belt real. Okay. I got you. I got you.
But no, I kind of agree with Petson, bro. Like if Petzing fucks up, he really could fuck this whole shit up if we just being like honest. Like I mean, not Kyler's development, Marv's development. I mean, I don't know how many people come to me tell me like, yo, like, can Kyler throw the ball to Marv more, or can like Marv
Yeah.
get more involved? And I'm just like, it all hinges on the coaching, bro. Like Kyler's gonna do what he's gonna do, but if Drew's not dialing up the plays for him, if he's not getting these guys involved, if we're not making it easier on Kyler, then like I don't know, man. Like I feel like that's the main thing that could hold us back because like how we talked about, like the defense is gonna be straight. Like we've added pieces everywhere we needed to add pieces to the defensive line, to the secondary. We feel like the defense is gonna be straight. But it's really just the offense. I saw a crazy stat. I forget who said it, but it was basically like Marv had the least amount of like behind the line of scrimmage like passes
Mm,
in all of like football last year. Like I think he maybe had like two.
yeah.
And it's just like if we're not trying to get him the ball like in that aspect, um, we're kind of limiting his I wouldn't even say upside. I mean, you are limiting his upside, but you're also limiting his like impact on the game when he doesn't have the ball, right? Because it's like people aren't expecting him to get the ball like that. And so I feel like all that comes down on Drew. Like you got to make Marv more of a weapon. Um, and we got to get a little bit more creative in the passing game because
Mm,
otherwise, like, yeah, we can get held back this season. We'll be in games where it's like we got no business being in the game with. Like Jacksonville is a game where like they can come out and be like, we just gonna run the ball, not try to make no mistakes. But Jacksonville's still a good enough team to put up points. Like,
mm.
so yeah, I feel
Especially
like
if
it's on
Trevor
Drew.
playing still. So
Yeah, I feel like it's on Drew for sure.
Dude,
It's a good
honestly,
point.
that's such a good point to bring up about Marv. Like, we gotta do a better job this year at just getting the ball in his hands. There was too many games last year where he just did nothing and he looked dejected on the sidelines, and like we can't have any of that. Like the guy's a star. Like he's got to get like a minimum 5 touches a game. Like we can't settle for like one catch, 8 yards.
Yeah,
Like that just
yeah.
cannot be a thing. So if they have clamps on him, bro, then I totally agree with you, Shad. Let's hit him with some stuff behind the line just to get him going, dude. Like just get the motor going. I think that's a great take that you just, or a great point that you just brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think obviously a lot of it will stem from Drew Petzing and his ability to, you know, orchestrate this offense in a much better tone. Get this offense to where it needs to be at, which is closer to 25, 26 points per game, which because they have the talent to do that. You have a running back who's a solidified top 15 type of guy, running back, in my opinion, at least. You have a quarterback who's borderline there. We know who has the talent, just has to kind of keep it together. You got a decent receiving core. You have one of the best tight ends in the NFL and a decent offensive line that you put together. So everything's there for you to have success. You just need to be able to mesh it all together so it can work out. So, um, Drew Petzing, we know it's on you. We know the microscope is on you, sir. So hopefully you kind of play. But 11-6, I have it at 11-6. I think Jake, you would have it at what, 12-5?
Yep.
12-5, and then Shaw, you're about 11-6 as well.
I think I'm 12-5, man.
12-5. Okay.
Man,
So you
I
put-
really like. I'm looking
Dark
at,
side.
bro. I'm looking at the schedule, man, and like
Mhm,
it's really an avenue for us to go, like Jake said, 7-0. Like it's an avenue.
mhm.
Like
You
obviously
could
it will
if you
require
go seven
everything.
and zero, if you go 7-0, it's obviously pushing the narrative of this, that. But that's great vibes if they start the season 7-0, 1,000%.
I mean, it's there for the taking, man. Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
it's definitely there for the taking.
if you start 7-0, then it starts becoming like, all right, who can actually knock us off here with these games coming up?
Oh, you know they're going
Yeah.
that Monday Night Football preview before that we take on Dallas after coming off a bye. We're 7-0. They let them be like 4-4, 5-3 coming into that game. Everybody gonna pick. I mean, everybody's already picking Dallas already. I mean, I heard Chase Daniel on the facility talk about Dallas is a better team than us. So that's his opinion. Clearly, he's wrong. He doesn't watch anything, but like people are already picking them ahead of us anyway. So it's Dallas. People are going to pick Dallas regardless. So it's I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be on and popping that game. That game we might I don't know we gotta do a stream or something like that.
I'm
That
not
game is
I'm
gonna be
not gonna
so
lie.
live.
I'm thinking about going to Dallas
Go on
for a
that one.
game.
That'd be a great one to
Yeah,
go to.
but I don't know if I'm gonna go to the game. I might end up going to that Cosm. I don't know if y'all seen that.
I
The
think it's like outside, not outside, but it's like Philly Live or whatever the case may be, or something like that.
it's kind of like that, but it's like a big screen, like IMAX
Oh
theater
yeah, yeah,
type
yeah.
deal.
Okay,
Like,
Seen that, yeah.
yeah, bro. Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing that because one of my boys lives in Dallas.
there you go.
That'd be sweet.
We'll be all around the USA. I'm thinking about going to the Cincinnati game still. I know it's late, it's cold, but I'm thinking about
Mhm.
going to that one just because I've never been to that stadium before. Jake, we know you're in Arizona. You're at most of the home games, regardless. So we're definitely covering this team in a great landscape across the USA. So should be a fun season. Obviously, we had a couple more things in the off season that wrapped us up. Obviously, we had P2's retirement, which we wanted to talk about a little bit. I know it was a little bit of a conflicting thing going on there, obviously. So P2 got not his jersey retired. He just retired on his own, but
He
he
just
wanted to,
retired. Yeah.
but he wanted to retire as a Cardinal. Obviously, his career here, highs and lows, very high highs, and almost seemingly very low lows as well. How do you all feel about that shot, the LSU guy? We'll start with you. I know Pappy is how you got into the Cardinals fans, but how are you feeling about his retirement? With the Cardinals coming back to the team and retiring as a Cardinal, having a big festivity, having a bunch of
Mhm.
guys come back there. Just how are you feeling about him and his retirement and maybe his career in general?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, Hall of Fame career for sure, right? Like 2010 All Decade, what 3-time All Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. Um, I mean, I'm glad that he like the relationship was there enough for him to be able to come back. I mean, I knew it was always kind of like him and Kime that was really jarring, and it wasn't necessarily like, even though like some of the fans would shit on him, but like he didn't have too much animosity towards the fans. So glad that he
Mm.
was able to come back and do that. Glad that like Calais Campbell's now on the team and he was able to be there and kind of support him. And a couple other guys came out and supported him. Obviously, the big thing was Kyler didn't come and show up to the retirement thing. And I think he touched on like Patrick touched on like trying to mend that relationship, which is good. It's something we talked about on the podcast. It shows, growth um
Mhm.
from him on that part. But nah man, just one of the greatest to do it, in my opinion. Obviously the reason why I'm a fan and the reason why really I even kind of got into watching football just from like college standpoint when he was at LSU.
Mhm.
So shout out to him for a great career and yeah, man, one of the best to do it.
Jake, you're him and your guy Kyler. They butted heads a little bit on his way out. How you feel about P2 ended up retiring as a Cardinal? His jersey likely will be in the Raptors, or at least his number will be in the Ring of Honor, and his name will be in the Ring of Honor. How you feeling about P2 retiring as a Cardinal?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing. Like look back on the good days, and it's kind of just like a full circle moment, close the loop. Um, Agree with Shad. Like definitely one of the best to ever do it. Some of the epic battles with Julio, Megatron, guys like that. He was on a shit, dude, back in the day. Like just the electric player to watch. Um, it was interesting though. Like when he was talking about everything. I forget who it was that was interviewing. It might have been Kay Adams. I can't remember, but was like asking about like if they moved on, like him and Kyler, and he like kind of like reiterated like what he originally said, like, oh yeah, like he's definitely like grown up and is more like a team guy. So it was like it was good to hear, but at the same time, I feel like he probably could have worded it a little differently. Like if I'm Kyler, I'm like, all right, bro, like he's still kind of like doubling down on that he did have an issue with me and like my character and all that stuff. So I just thought that was an interesting soundbite, but I don't think he really meant it that way. I think it just kind of came out a little
Mhm.
weird, but yeah, I mean, good guy, great, one of the greatest players at the position. So definitely nice to see him finish it off here. At least in uh, not physically, but the act, the action was
Yeah.
there. So yeah, good to see. I know when we did our pod, what was it, a month ago, or I was talking about it would have been nice to see him play one more year here, but I think we're straight now at corner, so I can I,
Literally.
Yeah,
I can let him
I'll
go.
say
But
I'll say this too. I was watching an interview. It was him and Cam Newton. He was on Cam Newton's podcast,
Yeah, I think I seen
and
that too.
he was talking about like the amount of detail that he put into like watching film, like not even from like during the season. It would like his film watching would start with the schedule release. Like he would
Hmm.
look up what receivers he's playing. He'd watch every snap that they took against press coverage, and then like on and on, like just progressively would watch more film as like the weeks led up to the game. And that type of discipline, that type of like study habit, like
Hmm.
the type of work that he was putting in, like it's a testament to the career that he had. And as one door closes, like I kind of mentioned earlier, like history tends to repeat itself. As one door closes, another one opens, and hopefully Will Johnson can follow in those footsteps.
Facts. It was great to see, obviously, Pat Pete getting his jersey retired. Me, I don't know. I had it not jersey retired, but him retiring as a Cardinal. Me personally, I saw it as like you were already going to do this in your career at some point, regardless. You were going to retire with whatever team. And again, it worked out for him perfectly because he spent so many years with the Cardinals that it did make sense for him to come back and retire here. But I kind of had the notion of feeling that he just wanted to retire with the first team that, drafted him, they gave him a chance. And because he seems like that type of person. Obviously, I don't know him, but he seems like the type of guy where he wanted to do that. And obviously, it feels I don't know. It's like it is what it is at this point. Me, like I think my feelings towards Pat Pete are already gone. Like I don't think I always thought it was like more so like jealousy in terms of him, not because he's a jealous of the player that he is compared to Kyler, but more so the team basing themselves about Kyler and then basically phasing him out. And maybe what he felt like it was phasing him out. And so it was great to see. Obviously, it's good. I like the good omens, and I need more. The Cardinals need more good omens about them. So, like at the end of the day, this is another good omen that a clear NFL Hall of Famer, whether it be first ballot, second ballot, that guy's retiring as a Cardinal. It's always good to be in the news and for good things. So, I can't complain too much about it. Shout out Pat P. Like I said, one of the true staples of this franchise. If you talk about 2010 Cardinals, he's it. So him and Larry are it. So at the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I mean, it is what it is, but still a little bit weirded out by the college stuff. But it is what it is. We move on. Like you said, Shot, closing one door, getting into another one. So before we head out today, this is definitely a great pod. Talked about the draft, talked about the schedule, talked about some offseason stuff. Shot and Jake, I do
Mhm.
need from you boys both one player that you feel is the breakout candidate for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025. And by breakout, I mean sort of what Trey McBride did last year. He became, a really good tight end, but now we know Trey McBride is a top three easily tight end, right? Obviously, the guy doesn't have to become top three in a position or whatever case may be because it's a lot of positions and a lot of great players in this league. But who do we believe is your one player that is going to make a national name for himself this season, based off his play, based off what he does, anything like that? Who is the player that will be the national name for the Cardinals this season?
Go ahead, Jake.
You itching to go? Yeah, as I say, my boy
All
itching down
right,
there.
all good. No, I was gonna wait for you boys to go because I was figuring like a popular answer might be Marv, which I do think, but he's already kind of a national name. But I do think Marv's gonna break out. But
Mhm.
my true breakout candidate, excuse me, I've had hiccups for the last 40 minutes. Is gonna be Garrett Williams. I think. I mean, he was nasty last year, bro, but he really didn't get the recognition. I think beefing up this defense, especially the D line, quarterbacks are going to be flailing a lot more balls out there downfield, maybe not too accurate. I think Garrett Williams is really going to solidify himself as just an absolute lockdown, like Christian Gonzalez type quarterback, and kind of have that similar recognition, like trajectory that Gonzo got with what was it last year, kind of last year, year before.
Mhm.
But I think Garrett Williams is going to be my national like household name after next year. I could see him having like 5 picks and just like not really allowing like really any completions. I think he's a lockdown blanket type of guy, and I think
Yeah.
Will is going to complement that super well. And like, dude, you forget about all the other guys like Denzel Ward could come in, or Denzel Burke rather could come in and be a dog. Starling Thomas was starting to come onto the scene. So, and just with that DL, dude, like, the defensive line and the quarterbacks kind of go as one for defense. So, with one being super ass, it's crazy that Garrett Williams was even as good as he was last year. So now just thinking about him, like, with actual pressure on the quarterback, like snap to snap, like he could be a demon. So that's my guy that I think is going to really break out.
What 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 would he have to? Not what do you have to do? Because obviously it just comes off of. To me, it comes off of winning, which is makes everybody shine a bigger light. But as a nickel corner, I don't know too many nickel corners who are like popular names or whatever the case may be. So like he would probably have to have a. I'm trying to think of like the top nickel corner, like a top guy.
That's what I mean, dude. It's hard to quantify like what he would have to do statistically. He just
Yeah,
pretty much has to be a blanket, I think, and just
yeah.
kind of like get his PFF grades out there as just like this guy doesn't allow anything, right? Like we
I gotta
need
think about that.
stat lines of like he held CeeDee Lamb to like
Mhm.
35 yards on 2 catches or
Yeah,
like
like when we play
Mhm.
CD Lamb, like have a good game against CD, and we play, whoever's going to line up in slot versus the Packers, like
right,
have a great game against them, like have a great game against Chris Godwin when you see him, because Chris Godwin probably will be healthy by that time, and
right.
he'll be in the slot. Have a great game. I mean, all these guys you just have to be a part of a group that's clearly a lockdown type of group. I think would be a good notion for him to get his name out there and just be considered one of those guys that is top of the line when it comes to nickel corners and just DBs in general, because we know they rotate him a lot up top to safety. He'll be the too high guy in a cover two. So it's be interesting to see what Garrett Williams does this year. Go ahead, Shot.
Um, I will say that mine is kind of on the line of what Jake was saying, but I like. like how you mentioned like slot corners, right? Like who are the top slot corners? Like they don't really get that much recognition. Like maybe the first name that came to my mind was like Devon Witherspoon. Like he's
Okay.
pretty good, but he also has like baked in like draft capital. People already know him.
Okay.
Right.
And along those lines, I feel like every year, man, there's one rookie cornerback that's like they just take the league by storm. Like last year is Quinyon. I mean, you could throw Cooper DeJean in there, but he kind of played more of a safety role.
Mhm.
Um, Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley, like every single year it's somebody. And I mean, I'm stamping my flag on Will Johnson. Like
There you go.
the best corner in the draft has the name baked into him. If he comes out and he locks up, I mean, whoever we play in the first couple of weeks, let's say he comes out and he locks up
Okay.
what's our schedule like again? Um
Uh, he comes out there, he locks up Chris Olave to start. Then he comes out there,
Duke.
then he locks up Ted McMillan week 2 in a rookie versus rookie battle. Then week 3 he
and
comes out there and locks up Brandon Ayuk. Then you talk
and
about
there you
Seattle,
go.
I'm trying to think Seattle, and then he comes out there and maybe he locks up JSN and whoever else.
JSN
And
or
Cooper
yeah,
Cup.
Cooper Cup.
Either one
Yeah.
of those
So
two. So that's
like
the first 4.
a- and not to say that Garrett ain't gonna be balling out too, you know what I'm saying? But like
Mm-hmm.
it's just the name baked in there. So when you ask like who's gonna take the NFL by storm, who are people gonna know? I feel like
Mm-hmm.
people are already gonna know Will Johnson and be like, oh, well, he was the top corner in the draft. He shouldn't have fallen that far. And this is
Right.
why.
Okay.
So that's where I'm stamping my flag at this year, man. I truly believe dude is a baller, man. Like he's gonna
Okay.
come in and he's gonna be on some lockdown cornerback type shit. So,
Okay.
um, and if I had like a little like dart throw, like a little underground person, I'd probably say BJ Ojulari on the
Ojulari.
edge.
Okay.
I feel like
It's a good
somebody's
pick
gonna
too.
pop off. I feel like somebody's gonna pop off on the line and give us like 8 to 10 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a good pick too.
yeah,
I like that. Me personally, yeah, you boys may think I'm cheating. If I had to be right where my feet are, like right where we're talking about in this exact subject, I would probably like obviously the Marv is the easy pick, but I don't think I would go like Paris Johnson Jr. I think he could have like a Jordan Mailata type of left tackle season where he's like, okay, this guy is like one of the top. Like you go on the you know what I'm talking about. You go on the graph plot charts and you're like, damn, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson are all by themselves, like and nobody else is even close to them. Like I
yeah,
think Paris Johnson Jr. probably could have a chance to maybe be in a grouping of them. So that to me would make him his national recognition name. But like I said, I might be cheating when you call me this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I think the breakout candidate for the Arizona Cardinals is defensive coordinator Nick Rallis. I think he gets his chance to be like the Brian Flores type, where you know this guy's name, like regardless of whatever the case may be, you know his name. Brian Flores, who else are the other guys? Robert Saleh before he's coming out, D'Amico Ryans even when he's coming out. Like obviously that entails winning. You have to win games to have
hmm
that, but I truly think that his name will be like one of the guys where it's like, damn, the shit that Nick Ross does, that is tough stuff. Like that is really good stuff. Like the stuff that they mix in, incorporate, and because Jonathan Gannon gets a lot of that love because he's a defensive head coach, right? And so
yeah,
who knows if that will actually pour on to Nick Rollins. But anytime Jonathan Gannon has a chance to talk about Nick Rollins, he talks about Nick Rollins, right? He doesn't say I do this, he says me and Nick, or Nick does this. We know Jonathan Gannon provides his coordinators with the ability to coach. Like that's what he does. So I could see, especially with the additions of the defensive line, already the stuff they do in the back end with the mixed coverages and the disguising. I mean, we talked about Mike McDaniel, Mike McDaniel talking about when he was playing going against coaches and the Cardinals being the toughest matchup for them defensively because of the shit that they did in the back end. It was confusing for them. It made Tua confused completely. I think that Nick Rollins has a chance to staple himself as a top defensive coordinator in NFL. Obviously, it'll come with coaching interviews and all that good jazz coming up. But at least for this season, I think Nick Rollins will stamp his name into the NFL books as one of those top defensive coordinators, and obviously lead this defense back to a top 10 unit, hopefully, with the additions that they made. So
yeah.
I got a bold take.
go ahead.
All right, so obviously Rawls, like a little bit of that, like he's still young, right? So I think even if he does pop off as defensive coordinator, I think a lot of teams will be hesitant to take him in as the head coach, like right off the rip. Like, might think he's still a little green. Like, bro, I'm pretty sure he's in his 20s. Like, I think he's like
Maybe
maybe
like 29 or something, 28, 29.
yeah, he's like super young. I'm going to say Arizona Cardinals are in the Super Bowl within the next 3 years, and I think we keep Rollis because of his age, and I think the defense just turns into an absolute juggernaut. Kyler really entering his prime, like healthy. I'm telling you, bro. I'm feeling really good. I feel like they're bringing the Philly blueprint to the desert. And yeah, you know me, like always got the wildly optimistic takes, but I'm
Yeah, I
feeling.
mean, it's not wild. This year is not wild.
It's
You're
not
right on
wild
you're
this
right on
year.
line with everything. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think this is a great season to have a potential breakout year. Danish comments and damn family stuff and not watching Diamondbacks for the folks. Have a good night. Appreciate you stopping through regardless.
Yep.
We always appreciate your support. So
Shout
but
out to
yeah,
Daniel.
this was a great pod episode. I mean, there's a lot of hopeful predictions going on here, but a lot of facts were given as well. So this rookie class looking like a good one for the Cards. The schedule is shaping out to be a great schedule. Hopefully, great start to the season, and they can have a chance to hit your stride going into the end of the season. Hopefully, putting wins together to go into a playoff run, and maybe even getting a home playoff game. So. Anything you boys have to say before we head out today? This was a great episode. Appreciate y'all as always.
I don't think so.
No,
All right. For one thing, I do have to say before we head out. You already know where I'm going. You already know where I'm going. Give me 1 second. Shout out Big Fred, bro. I can't tell you how important this is, man. This is a perfect chance for us to take off. Literally, this is a perfect chance for us to take off.
this the
She put
catalyst
it
right
on.
here.
This exactly. This is you talked about why the Cardinals were so good this season. I'm gonna just point to this. I'm gonna just put my hands up and say, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people made this their profile pick. Shout out to anybody that made this profile pick. I wanted to make this my profile pick, and I still actually might make this my profile pick. So this is crazy. I love this, but yeah, Big Red doing his big thing. Getting the big cheeks as well. You already know where we're at with it. So appreciate y'all. We will catch y'all on the next one. Don't know when that'll be. Probably sometime before the season. Obviously, got summer coming up, so gonna definitely take some downtime with the gang. But appreciate y'all coming through. We will catch y'all on the next one, man.
Sounds good. See you,
All right,
fellas.
y'all boys.
See
All
ya.
right.